These guys hung these columns, and they're like 50, 60-foot columns, and they left them freestanding.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm like, I'm about to die. I got out of the forklift, and I hit my knees, and I was just like this, and I'm just like...
When's the last time you think you had that victim mentality where something bad happened to you and instead of being like, dude, you know what? I'm glad it happened because I learned this and I'm not going to make that mistake again, or it led to this opportunity. When was the last time you were like, poor me?
I don't know if it was a poor me, but I can tell you in, I think maybe 2019, I was doing a very, very big steel job in Alabama. And it was probably one of the biggest jobs I'd ever done. And for that reason, I decided to go down there and live there for a while. Somewhere in that project, COVID hit. We started the project out and the mud was this deep. We're unloading steel and mud over a foot deep. They're pushing on us, telling us they're going to supplement us if we don't get out there and do it. It was almost impossible. They didn't even have a slab poured. So they had poured a retaining wall so we could hang the columns. And then they were going to come back and backfill the concrete. It made it hell on earth for us. I mean, we were literally working in water this deep, all of us in boots. When COVID hit, a lot of these guys hadn't seen their family. Their wives are freaking out because their wives are watching the news.
Yep.
I have my personal opinions about COVID, so you can imagine what I thought about COVID. You know,
You can share it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I already can guess what
you
it was.
can blur this out, but it was this. I told them, I said, listen, guys, we're going to hang this column line, but tie the columns in. Basically, that means you're going to have these big columns. You have to connect a rafter, and then you have to connect a bar joist over to the next bay that's already built. Right. So it has something to hold up against. These guys hung these columns, and they're like 50, 60-foot columns, and they left them freestanding.
Oh, jeez.
I pull up on a Saturday morning. I see these columns in the air, and my first words were all 4-letter words. I jump out, jump in a forklift, start trying to move bar joists. I want to tie them in.
Yeah.
I pull out backwards, and I go to pull forward to go back towards these columns, and I hear boom. Oh, boom. And I look up. Dude, I'm telling you, from me to this wall, columns are falling next to me. Duh. And the thing about buildings, metal buildings, particularly when they fall, they twist and fall. The amount of the building that we had built was to my left, and these columns are going towards that end wall, and I'm scared to death it's gonna hit and twist, and it's all gonna land on me.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm about to die. You know what I'm saying? We had done permanent bracing to the brace bay, and the brace bay is a bay where they have permanent bracing, and then you do temporary bracing. We had put that in. We had a very strong lift plan in place. We always do, but these columns are falling around me. I don't know where to jump out of the machine or where to stay in the machine because there's a cage over you in these 10K forklifts. And I got these bar joists on the forks. So I stay in the machine and I'm just like, I'm truly scared for my life.
Yeah.
And these columns fall and they hit the last column and the building stood. But I knew I just lost a lot of money. And I knew that there's about to be a lot of pictures and a lot of emails and a lot of legality.
Yeah.
And to this day, I got out of the forklift and I hit my knees and I was just like this, and my hard hat kind of hits the ground. And I'm just like, I just lost a bunch of money. This is going to majorly impact the schedule because the base plates were ripped off the columns and I damn near died. Just 10 seconds before, I had the boom between the columns that were falling. So if it would have fell on the lift, it would have catapulted me forward. And I just remember I was angry, I was upset. I don't know if I felt like a victim. It was a situation where I was really, really so bad that I was like on my knees. Superintendent took a picture of that, of me on the ground. And I keep that picture in my office to this day. And just to remind me, you know, to get up every time. But I was very, very down. We were down on the project. The guys were tired of being there. It was way out of town for me, you know, at the time. It was like a 7-hour drive. And we do work all over the country now. Just at that time, with the guys that we had and all my really good foremen were tied up other places and we're trying to push this thing, I really felt like I was kicked in the stomach. Yeah. I think even that moment made me better. There's things that happen every day I feel like make me better. I'm still developing as a person every day. There's things I still need to learn, still want to develop, and still want to grow from. I'm open to it. I just hope I don't ever have steel fall again. You know?
Dude, that's a crazy story.
I had a guy get electrocuted one time. We had called the city. We have this pre-walk job walk checklist, and we called the city because anything that's not 30, 40 feet away, we want them to come insulate the lines. And we did. We called when we hung the steel. It was fine. You know, we called them. They said, you're good. We said, okay, we hung the steel. But this guy picked a piece of trim up and he went to spin it around, and it was like a 20-foot piece of trim, and it got close and it jumped out and arc, topped him and another guy. Dang. Yeah, that stayed on my E-mod for 4 years.
Wow.
It cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Because when your E-mod goes over 1, it's like an extra tax.
Yeah.
So if I'm paying 30 on 100 to, let's say, hang steel, or 40 on 100 to hang steel, it's that plus 1.5.
Right.
And it stays on there for, they say 3 years, but it's really like 4 years. The insurance claims and things like that is something you definitely want to stay away from. And that's why we're so safety folk. Like, I have a full-time guy on staff for just safety. The guys don't want to listen. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to tie off.
Well,
they
they're
don't
like,
wanna-
I've been
yeah.
doing it like this forever. Why I got to do it this way?
Yeah, or like that's slow.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing a job in an oil and gas plant right now where they want us to sheet the walls a certain way. And they want us to like, you know, and we drill holes and they want us to pick up one panel with a crane every time. It's going to make the job 3 times longer.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to lose money. A lot of times, even when I've had this with customers, they want to do something special. I know I'm going to lose money, but sometimes you got to stay in there and prove to a customer that you'll stay in and bang it out with them. And we did that. And a lot of times we would make a bunch of money, lose money, make a bunch of money, lose money.
Yeah.
And so it's certain systems we had to get in place and certain understandings that we had to have with the customers. I'm sure you deal with this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with consulting or whatever you're doing, they probably want you all the time. And sometimes you got to draw those lines, and some customers have to be fired, and sometimes you just have to get better.